All right, so today we're taking a look at the very inexpensive BlackMagic design cinema cage. This will also work with the new 4K production camera from BlackMagic because they use the same form factor in their 4K camera that should be coming out soon. But anyways, the pieces that come with this inexpensive cage is the cage itself. You see there's a bottom stage and a top stage here. There's one little screw that holds the bottom of the cage in place. Then you have a top handle here and two screws for the top handle that mounts up here. You have two hex wrenches. You also have a pair of rods and a clamp that gets mounted underneath the cage, and that comes with two screws as well to hold the rods in place. So I'm going to go through the setup of assembling it with a couple of tips on how to do that, because you don't want to jam your camera directly in here. You're just going to end up scratching your camera. What you want to do is you want to take apart at least the top portion of this before you mount it to your camera, and that'll prevent any scratching from happening while you're putting it on, because it's a very, very tight fit. So my suggestion is to take this top plate out. Unfortunately, I don't think they suggest that because they don't have the proper Allen key to remove this. So they should have included it so you can take that apart. But anyways, I'll do that, and I'll show you how it gets set up and put together. So there we have it. We have the top plate removed from the cage. So let's put the cage onto the BlackMagic. Okay, so what you're going to do first, my suggestion is with the top portion off, we're going to mount the bottom screw in first. All right, so now that the bottom is mounted, you can see it's a really, really nice fit, very smooth, fits flush with the BlackMagic all the way around. Pretty decent cage here. You will notice that this little screw kind of hangs out. So you can't use a quick release plate directly to the bottom of this. The reason why is because it's designed to take a set of rods. And so once these rods are on here, that's where you would add your quick release. Now, if you didn't want to use the rods, there is a way you can mount a quick release to the bottom of this, and I'll show you that in a second. But let's finish building this cage up. All right, so now we're going to put the top part back here. Make sure that the holes are aligned up here. All right, now that we have the top part installed, we're going to put the top handle on. There you go. So you can see how flush the cage fits on the BlackMagic. It's actually a really nice fit. The only thing weird about it is you have all these access points on the top here, but this plate is very shallow. So if you were to drive a friction arm through here, you're probably going to end up gouging your camera. So you're kind of limited to what you can add to the top here unless you have a very shallow bolt. So it takes some thought about what you're going to be mounting on here. There is a threaded port up here on the top, and then there's a larger one up here in the front. So you'll have these two access points at least. But for the cage, you have a number of accessory ports here on the side and on this side as well. So that should be plenty for what you guys are going to mount on this rig. Then you also have a set of rails, so let's put the rails on. The threaded side goes on the bottom because that's where you're going to mount your quick release plate. So what you have to do is you have to get the hex wrench into this thread here. You got to pass it through just to get to the bolt. So let's see if we can get that set up. All right, so there you have it. You have the clamp underneath with the rail system, and then this is an area for you to add your quick release plate. And that's a basic look at the cheap BlackMagic cinema camera cage, as well as the 4K production camera. They'll both fit in here because it's the same form factor. Now, the tip that I was going to share with you guys on how to mount this cage directly to a quick release plate, for instance, like a Manfrotto, I'll show you that next. All right, so what I have here is a Manfrotto quick release plate. A lot of you guys are using this. But if you wanted to mount it directly to this bottom plate without the rail system, you can't really mount it because you have this bolt head kind of hanging out here, and that's going to get in the way of your quick release. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount a quick release directly to the plate, and we're going to get rid of this bolt. All right, so we're getting rid of this bolt here, but it's pretty obvious that you can't mount a quick release plate directly to this because it'll mount on the bottom of the camera cage, but it won't actually thread all the way through to the camera. So this cage won't be as stable as possible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace the screw that's in here. So you just pull this rubber plug out, slide this out. Now what I have here is a special extended shaft 1/4 inch quick release plate screw. And it's also toolless because it has a D-ring. That's a lot of information, but I will show you pictures of this on the blog up close. But if I show you this side by side to one of these typical screws, you'll see that the shaft is slightly longer. Now what that's going to do is allow me to pass the bolt through the quick release, through the bottom of the camera cage, and into the camera. So it's a little bit longer. So this slides in, and it's cut out at the bottom of the screw here, so it still has the ability to slide. That's really important for these quick release screws. So I'm going to run this through now. Now I mentioned that this was toolless because there's a special D-ring here. When you're not using the D-ring, it just folds down. So you don't have to carry around a quarter or some other type of tool to tighten this up. So once I have it tightened up, I'm going to close this down. Now this screw is long enough again to run through the quick release plate, the bottom of the cage, all the way up into the camera. And I don't need a tool to tighten it up. So that's a way you can get this quick release plate mounted. I also have the pin in one of the threaded holes here, so it's going to prevent the whole plate from shifting. Now this BlackMagic Design Cinema camera cage, because it sits on the front of the camera, it also acts as a kind of an anti-twist system because that cage is not going to shift inside this bracket. So when you're using the rail system or your follow focus or anything like that, this cage is not going to twist, and this quick release plate under here is not going to twist as well. So pretty handy to have a cage for sure. Now it takes a lot of steps to mount all this together, but really it's just 2 screws for the top handle. I just suggest leaving the entire cage on the BlackMagic the whole time. There's no reason you need to take it off once it's on. For more information about this BlackMagic Design Cinema camera cage, check it out on the blog, cheesycam.com.